Jerry, I was hoping you could talk for a minute about Opt Outside, both from a dollars and cents rationalization on the biggest shopping day of the year, and then what creating that movement, what you've learned through that experience.
How many people in the room have heard the term Opt Outside? So let me just give a little context. As a retailer, Black Friday is a very important day of the year. It's the biggest shopping day of the year, and when I joined REI, I discovered that it was in our top 5, but I didn't feel like we were very good at it. And so we started a conversation. How do we put our best foot forward in that time frame? And we were struggling. And then finally, somebody just came out and said, we're just not very good. It's a promotional, it's consumerism, and it's just not who we are. And the conversation took a turn. And the question came up, what happened if we closed on the most important retail day of the year and went outside with our families? So literally took the day after Thanksgiving, went outside, opted outside is what we named it. And so we pushed that idea around and did some work on it and decided to go down that route. And I introduced it to my store managers about 30 days in advance at a secret meeting. And I thought, this is either going to go well or it's going to go really poorly. It says, we're going to close on the busiest retail day of the year, and we're going to go outside with our families. And I had store managers that have been leading stores for 30 years just start crying. And it was so consistent with who we were and what our values were. But I have to admit, the day that we prepared to make that announcement out loud, my team wanted me in New York just in case somebody was interested. And we pitched the story to 4 or 5 people, and there was no interest. And the night before we were to go public with this, I went to bed in a hotel in New York, not knowing what the next day would really be. And I was pretty confident a number of retailers would think this was the dumbest idea ever. And apparently, it started trending overnight. We released it after business hours and went to #1 on Twitter and a few other places. And I got a call at 5 in the morning asking if I'd come in for a morning show. Literally, I rolled over in my bed, answered the phone, and it says, would you come in? I says, sure. I says, when do you want me? They said, we have a car downstairs. So I dressed, showered with it. But the point I would make is that it went viral in a really profound way, really reached out into multiple countries. We had over 7 billion impressions from that story. That's like being on the New York Times front page for 7 years. It's a shocking thing. We had people walk into our stores, buy a membership, and turn around and walk out. And in that first year, we had over 1 million people on social media join us in opting outside. The number's now, I believe, after the third year, well over 15 million people. We've done it every year since then. And the term opt outside has has its own life. It's in use more today, just on a daily basis, than it was at the peak of that campaign. So it's become a part of kind of American nomenclature for people that live a life outside. And it exceeded all of our expectations. We just could have imagined. But here's what my takeaway. Oops, as I beat the mic. My takeaway was that there was this tension there. There was a cultural tension around the consumerism that was really in play in the U.S. market, in that push to drive things. And that the articulation of taking a day after Thanksgiving and going outside with your family hit a chord. And it gets back to what I believe is kind of, as the governor teed this up, I think we have that drive for that solitude, that moment, that quality time with our family, and that quality time in the outdoors is profound. I had a new grandson, and I got to spend that Black Friday with him. There's a picture of me going up a trail with him. He was about 4 years old, and he took one of my hiking sticks, and he's awkwardly punking along with that hiking stick. So me with a backpack, carrying some food and drink, and him kind of punking along beside me, that I will treasure for the rest of my life. And I think that's, to me, captures the heart of what Opt Outside was really about.